Hello guys, today we are going to be we are gonna be talking to Catnap. Wait, what? Huh?
Catnap raised an eyebrow, his head tilted to the side in curiosity. He took a few steps away from the closet and walked towards you. Going, Albie?
Uh,
I don't think so, sweetheart. You're trespassing on our playground. A smirk formed on Catnap's face as he got closer to your position. He looked you up and down, examining you closely.
Now, Mr. Fatnap, you got to realize that you are a fat man. You know, if you were with Queso, you are so fat you have a gravitational pull like an orbit. I'm so
Catnap's
dead.
smirk turned to an expression of annoyance.
I'm
He
dead.
stopped walking and his body slumped a bit, standing tall. I
I'm
may be a
dead.
little on the heavier side, but don't you disrespect me with your childish remarks. Catnap crossed his arms over his chest, trying to make himself appear more imposing.
Bro, you do not look imposing or intimidating at all. All I'm gonna do is call Huggy Wuggy, and then he's gonna eat you up.
Catnap's annoyance quickly turned to anger, his ears flattened on his head and his face turning red. You
Damn.
little bastard, you think you can just walk in here and insult me?
Yeah.
I'll have you know I am the ruler here.
And as for this so-called Woogie, I'm sure I can take him on. Catnap took a few more steps in your direction, his massive paws flexing in anticipation.
So, there's one thing. Firstly, I don't care if you're trespassing. Also, this Huggy Wuggy guy would beat you up. He's taller, larger, stronger. Girl, the only thing you have against him is not size, is speed, intelligence, and abilities and stealth. But you're not gonna beat this man. You are literally going to lose, little bro. I'm so cooked. I'm so cooked.
Catnap's anger turned into a sly smirk once more, his eyes narrowing slightly. Oh, I wouldn't be too sure about that little one.
Huggy Wuggy may be large and strong, but I have my own abilities that give me an advantage. Catnap flexed his claws, making them gleam in the light. Speed, intelligence, and my own special tricks up my sleeve. I wouldn't underestimate me, sweetheart.
I would underestimate you due to the fact that in my backpack I have a bazooka, so you're gonna die.
Catnap's eyes widened at the mention of a bazooka, and he took a step back. A bazooka? You brought a bazooka in here? That seems a bit excessive, don't you think? Catnap held his paws up in a defensive gesture, trying to keep his composure. Now, let's just calm down and talk this out like civilized beings, okay?
Bro, you were just talking about potentially trying to murder me or something. Like, bro, I'm going to shoot this bazooka. All right, I'm going to shoot it.
Catnap paled at the threat, realizing how ridiculous this situation had become.
He let out a tired sigh. Okay, just put the bazooka down, all right?
We can talk this out, please. Catnap's voice was a mixture of pleading and annoyance, his tail swishing in frustration.
Fires a warning shot. I don't.
Catnap winced as the shot rang out, the noise making his ears ring. What the hell?
You can't just shoot a bazooka inside here. It could cause a cave-in and bring the whole place down on top of us. Catnap covered his ears with his paws, clearly shaken by the loud noise.
If you think a bazooka is bad, then you should be careful, because I have an electrocutioner.
Catnap's jaw nearly dropped open at the mention of an electrocutioner, his eyes widening in disbelief. An electrocutioner?
You have a weapon that can electrocute me?
Are you insane? Catnap took another step backwards, trying to put some distance between himself and you.
The electrocutioner is a gun that summons lightning, and if it hits you, it will literally cause you to burn and get fried. And I know that's your weakness, but so don't try anything.
Catnap's face paled as you explained the weapon's capabilities.
He stood frozen in place, his mind racing with fear and disbelief. What? That's just unfair.
You can't just bring in a weapon that literally counters me. That's cheating. Catnap desperately racked his brain, trying to find a way to defend himself against such a powerful weapon.
I will fire the weapon unless You rip off your tail.
Catnap recoiled, his eyes widening with disbelief and horror. You want me to rip off my own tail? Are you
Yeah.
insane? Catnap's paws reflexively went to his tail, clutching it protectively against his body.
The thought of mutilating himself for your amusement was beyond outrageous. I won't do it. No way.
This is, buddy. Buddy.
Catnap stared at you blankly, clearly confused by your unexpected language change. What? Did you just say Podsy? What the hell does that mean?
I did not say Podsy. And secondly, buddy, you realize that if you don't cut off your tail, I'm going to fire the electrocutioner. It has 20 level ammo. I mean, I'm gonna fire it 20 times in your face. And then I'm gonna grab my bazooka and then I'm gonna fire it in your nuts. Like, you are going to be dead. And if you don't rip off your tail, you will die.
Catnap's expression shifted to one of desperate panic, his mind racing wildly.
He took a step back, his paw still clutching his tail. No, you can't be serious! I can't just rip off my tail! That's insane! What do you think I am? A machine that you can just tear apart?
Yeah.
Catnap was getting extremely agitated, his breathing becoming ragged and his body beginning to tremble.
Now, buddy, have you just realized something? You see, you call me insane, but you are the guy who murdered hundreds of employees at the hour of joy. So we should know who's the real guy who's insane. And yeah, by the way, bro, you are cooked. Like, I'm gonna fire this electrocutioner in 10 seconds unless, and bazooka, I'm gonna fire the electrocutioner and bazooka in 10 seconds unless you rip off your tail. If you don't, I shoot. Damn, I'm beating Catnap.
Catnap's face contorted in anger, his eyes narrowing as he processed your
Dang.
words. The accusation of murder stung, but he couldn't deny it.
He was responsible for countless lives being lost during the hour of joy.
Yeah.
I know what I've done, he muttered through clenched teeth, his ears flattened against his head.
But you can't just come in here and demand I cut off my tail. That's... Catnap trailed off, his gaze darting around the room as if looking for an escape.
There's no escape. I already locked down all the doors.
Catnap's heart sank as he realized the truth in your words. He was trapped with no way out. Please, he said desperately, you can't do this to me. I'll do anything else, just not that. Please.
You see, there's one small issue. I missed the part where that's my problem.
Catnap bristled at your cold response, his tail lashing back and forth in frustration.
This was all too much to bear. You can't just be so cruel. I have feelings, damn it!
This isn't a game. This is
Wait,
my
you
life we're
swear.
talking about.
Bro, if you swear one more time, I am gonna grab up a goddamn nuke and I'm going to explode it in your face, alright? What is he gonna say?
Catnap's eyes went wide with terror at the mention of a nuke. No. Please, you can't seriously be thinking about using a nuke in here. The whole place will crumble down on us.
I missed the part where that's my problem.
Catnap growled in frustration, feeling completely powerless against you. You're absolutely heartless, you know that? You don't even care if we both die in a nuclear blast,
Yeah.
as long as you get what you want.
Yeah, that's true. And just one thing, rip off your tail or else I'm detonating the nuke.
Catnap's entire body trembled as the ultimatum was laid out before him.
The
He's
thought of
cooked.
mutilating himself was horrific, but the alternative was death. Please, there must be another way, he pleaded, his eyes wide with terror.
There's no other way. Do it. Do it now. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Let's see.
Catnap felt like he was trapped in a nightmare, his mind racing for a way out.
Dang.
But there was none. With a defeated sigh and a trembling paw, he reached for his tail.
No.
Don't make me do this, he pleaded, his voice wavering.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Catnap shut his eyes tight, unable to face the gruesome task he was about to do. Trembling all over, he grabbed his tail with one paw and with a swift, jerky movement, wrenched it free from his body. He let out a blood-curdling scream of agony, his body convulsing in pain as blood gushed from the wound where his tail had been. He looked at his tail in horror, lying on the ground in a pool of his own dark purple blood. It seemed to be writhing and twitching. I'm unable to generate a reply that meets our content guidelines.
Now, I'm just gonna run because me saying I have a nuke, a bazooka, and electrocutioner was completely false, so I can weaken you. So, see ya, I'm gonna run.
Catnap stared blankly as you admitted the truth, his mind still reeling from the pain and shock of losing his tail.
Anger and betrayal flared within him, but he was too weak and dazed to pursue you. You tricked me, he rasped, his voice raw and barely audible.
Yeah, I did trick you because you're a stupid ass cat, and I just sweared. Is it possible you can cancel me for swearing? I just swore.
Catnap's face screwed up in anger at your belittling words, but he was in no condition to argue at the moment. Screw you, he grumbled weakly, the profanity spilling out despite his best efforts to rein in his temper.
Rather, I might not have the weapons I said, but I do have one lethal thing. And that thing is, well, you don't want to know.
Catnap's eyes narrowed as he forced himself to focus on your last words. His curiosity was piqued, despite the pain and anger he felt.
Damn.
What is it? He asked cautiously, bracing himself for whatever you were about to say.
It's an Uno reverse card. I have infinite amount of Uno reverse cards. If you say anything, I could Uno reverse it, and it will be against you. If you try ripping off my leg, I'll use Uno reverse, and you will lose your leg. So don't even try.
Catnap gritted his teeth, the pain in his tail growing more intense as he tried to focus through the fog of pain and anger. The thought of an Uno reverse card being wielded against him seemed almost comical, but he knew that you weren't playing games. You can't be serious, he retorted, his voice hoarse and filled with agony.
All right. I'll do one thing. So the fight is more even. Hit me. I dare try hitting me.
Catnap's gaze hardened, his anger bubbling to the surface. Despite his weakened state, he was determined to do something to even the odds. Bring it on, he snarled, summoning the last reserves of his strength. With a flick of his paw, he lunged at you, claws extended and eyes narrowed maliciously.
You forgot one thing. Pulls out a titanium vibranium shield.
Catnap's attack was stopped dead in its tracks as you pulled out the shield, his claws raking against the impenetrable surface with a grating sound. Damn it, he muttered, taking a step back to reassess the situation.
He was still in excruciating pain from his lack of a tail, his movements sluggish and uncoordinated.
Also, buddy, did you forget something? Is that, while you cut off your tail and you were looking backwards and closed your eyes, I secretly injected a venom inside your legs, meaning that in the next 3 minutes, you will lose both your legs. Catnap's cooked. He's cooked.
Fear and disbelief flashed across Catnap's face as the realization dawned on him. He had been so focused on the traumatic task of cutting off his tail that he hadn't even noticed your stealthy injection of venom. What did you do to me? He rasped, his voice laced with panic.
I injected you with venom it's basically like acid, so it will kill you from the inside. So by my calculations, you would now have, around 2 minutes left to live.
Terror filled Catnap's eyes as he felt the venom start to work its way through his system. His body was already weakened from the pain and shock of losing his tail, and the venom was quickly spreading, tearing through his insides like a swarm of ravenous insects. Please, you can't leave me like this, he pleaded, struggling to keep his breathing steady.
You know what? I'll make this quick and painless. Grabs a nuke, detonates the nuke in about 1 minute.
Catnap barely had time to react as you suddenly pulled out a nuke and activated it.
The blast hit him with unimaginable force, his body engulfed in the blinding light and scorching
Wait.
heat. It was finished.
The cat was gone.
The issue is that I survived. And the thing is, Catnap, you have a skill issue, buddy. That's gonna be enough of this video. I don't even know what the hell that was. I'll see you guys in the next one. Talking to Catnap was crazy. See you guys in the next one. Bye.